This is Dream Power Radio, the place where your dreams turn into reality. Here is your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Hello, and welcome to Dream Power Radio. I'm your host, certified dream life coach, Debbie Spector-Weissman. This is a place where we talk about dreams, both daytime and nighttime dreams, and how you can use them to make the internal shift to a life you love and rediscover the truth of who you really are. I've been doing a lot of traveling lately, which means I've been spending a lot of time in airports. And what did I see there? Lots and lots of people standing in line, waiting with their suitcases to drop off their luggage. And got me thinking. It's easy to get rid of our travel baggage, to lighten our load before getting on the airplane. But there's another type of baggage we carry, and it may be weighing us down even if we don't realize it. Of course, I'm talking about our emotional baggage, those traumas from our past that keep us stuck or prevent us from achieving what we really want. But you knew I was going there, didn't you? However, we don't have to let our past dictate our future. There are ways we can release our traumas, and someone who's an expert on doing that is my special guest today. Edith B. Kiss is a holistic therapist, coach, author, and speaker who's worked with clients on releasing long-standing pains, blockages, ancestral defects, and emotional traumas. She's the author of On the Healer's Journey and a co-author of the best-selling book, One Habit for Entrepreneurial Success. Welcome to Dream Power Radio, Edith.
Hi, Debbie. Thank you so much for having me. And hi, everybody.
Well, Edith, why do you feel so many people have issues with past trauma?
Oh, well, I think it's just part of life. Some people are more resilient and some people are just have to go through certain challenges in this life. And then the people who has to go through more challenges, those are the ones who's actually experiencing more triggers. And then the triggers and the reactions toward the triggers are basically the signs that you carry traumas. So when you're experiencing some anger issues, some disappointment, some sadness during the day, or some betrayals from others, then basically you need to see where is it coming from? Why I am feeling this way?
Yeah, you mentioned that word triggers, and that's a word that's come up so often in the past couple of years. I mean, I think when I first started, I don't even think I heard the word trigger mentioned. It's out there. So how do you help people identify their triggers?
So trigger is something which can come from your environment. It can come from people, like they telling you something, or you listening to the news, or just something happens around you, some situation, or it can come even from your own mind. Sometimes we say we are the biggest enemy of ourselves, right? Because of our mind sometimes comes up with stories, which is just assumptions or projections, which has no foundation at all. So that's also a trigger. So these triggers, these outside incidents or our mind basically create these triggers, which we react towards. So the reaction towards triggers most of the time is negative emotion. That's why we call we got triggered and we react with negative emotions. And this can be, as I said, sadness, disappointment, feeling misunderstood, unsupported, angry, hopeless, all of these negative emotions. And then it's actually bring us down in a lower vibration. And then in the beginning, you were mentioning that how actually important is to release when we want to manifest an amazing life, right? Is because these low vibrational emotions are keeping you on low vibration, then you can't manifest a good thing because you need to raise your vibration to manifest the things which brings you happiness and joy. You need to be there already, feeling happiness and joy to be able to manifest more of that. So this is why you need to work on releasing the core trauma to get rid of these reactions, basically.
Okay, well, that brings up the question, how do we release these traumas?
Yeah, so many people, when they realize they have some issues, basically they go through some challenges, they feel sad, they feel angry, they feel disappointed, they feel unhappy. If they stay on that unhappiness for too long, it can turn into depression, it can turn into panic attacks, anxiety, and all kinds of long-term physical issues as well. So then they basically reach out for help, right? They say like, okay, I can't live like this anymore. I need a support. And what they do most of the time, they go to speaking therapy or they go to the GP, getting some pills or venting. But those are the things which not helping on a long term. These are kind of like a temporary feeling well situations. But the trigger is going to come back as a pattern in their life. So what is the mostly recommended, what I do also with my clients, is to actually go into deep transcendental state, on a state in your mind where you can connect with your unconscious mind, which is holding the buried traumas. You are most of the time, you have no clue what is the memory which is causing you the reactions towards the triggers. So what is that memory? And then sometimes people say, I don't remember any trauma. I had a cool childhood. I was happy. I don't remember anything. But then when we do the session, it turns out that it was an innocent memory, which was actually the core because the child was actually reacting in that memory with certain emotions, negative emotions. For example, I had a client with panic attacks, and then one of the memory was that she was sitting in the room with her grandparents who were watching TV, and she wanted to go outside to play in the sun, but she couldn't because the grandparents wanted to stay inside, obviously. And she was a child, so she felt unsupported, she felt limited, she felt like hopeless, like couldn't do what she wanted, she felt a bit sad, and so on and so forth. And that momentum stayed with her. And then when it was COVID time, it was amplified with another situation. And then later it became the panic attacks with another trigger. So that's how it can actually label up and then became a physical or mental illness, a very innocent memory. So you don't need to always go through defying situations or big traumas to actually have these kind of reactions. It's much just because you are not as resilient as others. Maybe you are more sensitive. And also it can go back to how you actually treat your body as well. It's connected to the hormones, it's connected to your physical health as well. Because I realized very often that when people don't take care of their dietary needs, their nutrients, they are low in iron or they are low in B vitamins and so on and so forth, they can develop anxiety, stress, and panic attacks as well. So it's like I also address this to my clients. Are you eating healthy? How is your daily routine? And do you sleep enough? And all of these things.
That's a really important point to really emphasize, because so many times when we're not feeling our best, if we're feeling a little sad or anxious or something, we don't really tend to take care of ourselves the way that we don't eat as well. We'll eat comfort food, junk food to make us feel better, or we'll stop exercising without realizing that when we do exercise, it really gets our endorphins up and makes us feel better. And so we stop doing those things that will keep us in a high vibration. And then it just gets into a spiral. It goes down, down, down from there. So I think that's an important thing. Another thing that I want to emphasize, what you mentioned earlier, is about how a trauma doesn't have to be this monumental, horrible thing that's happened to you. Because so many times when people hear the word trauma, think about sexual abuse or emotional abuse or some kind of horrible thing that's happened. I could think of something in my own case when I was going through trying to heal myself of limiting beliefs that I've had. And one of them was a sense of abandonment. And I got down to realizing that came from when I was 5 and my next door neighbor pal moved away. And this was a boy who I palled around with, did all kinds of things with. And then all of a sudden, he was gone. Well, it wasn't anything anybody did. It was just people move. It's part of life. But that's how it hit me. And of course, I didn't realize that at the time. It was much, much later when that happened. But these things do happen. Well, one thing you did mention also was going into a transcendental state. I assume you're talking about meditation here.
Yeah, it can be, hypnotherapists also doing a great job with this, healing traumas. They use this also. But in my case, in source memory healing, I use samadhi meditation to go into transcendental states, yes.
And so what kind of meditative state do people get into that point?
So I learned this technique from my karma guru. It's a 60,000 years old karma yogi technique. It's actually also called audio from Shiva. So basically it's a meditation when it's called samadhi meditation, but because it's helping you to get into samadhi state. That's like the lowest vibration, like in the brain activity. But basically not many people reach that because you need to be pure like in soul, and then you need to like reach like healing all your karmas and all of the things. So basically we bring the client into delta brain waves to get to connected with their multidimensional existence and with the unconscious mind.
Okay. And you also advocate another type of meditation called chakra meditation. How does that work?
Yeah, so actually it's part of this samadhi meditation that is actually also clearing the chakras. So first, when we start this samadhi meditation, we go through first the chakras, we spinning up the chakras, we clear first the chakras, the seventh chakra, and then we also activate the eighth chakra, which is the chakra of our aura, because that's what connects us with our past lives as well. Because sometimes the traumatic experience happened in past lives, and we go there to clear that. So that's why we activate the eighth chakra as well. And then we activate the pineal gland. And that's connect you to the third eye as well, to open more your third eye for intuitive thoughts and then for trust with the divine. So it's part of the meditation. And if someone wants to try it, it's free in my playlist on my YouTube channel. And it's the Magical Karma Priestess. So people can actually experience this meditation there.
Now, that'd be very, very helpful. How does this relate to the whole concept of mindfulness?
Yeah, so mindfulness is basically about controlling your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. So these are the three things we can control in life, right? We can't control other people. We can't control what's going on in our environment. So if we are able to master these three, to controlling these three, then we are winning in life. Because what you see, what is happening, like how people go through life, is that they allow their emotions to control them. They kind of like, oh, I am just falling in love. Oh, I'm just heartbroken. I'm just this, I'm just that. They allow the emotions to control them instead of them controlling their emotions. And the thoughts comes first. So with your thoughts, if you are able to master your thoughts and control your thoughts, then you can control your emotions as well. And then through that, you can make conscious actions, take conscious actions from your thoughts and from your controlled emotions. I always say to my clients, when you are in a low vibrational emotions, you feel bad, you feel angry, disappointed, then don't take any actions or don't make big decisions, because might that feeling is just temporary, but the decisions you make, it's gonna actually unfold your future. So I always tell them, like, sleep on it, or came back into a higher vibration before you make any decisions. So the mindfulness, how to become more mindful, or how to make sure that you can control these three things, is the first one is to, when you have thoughts, like you have negative thought patterns, then you want to shift them into positive. And that's through affirmation. You can start practicing affirmations, shifting your negative thoughts into positive, about reprogramming your subconscious mind, basically. And then the emotions, to be able to control your emotions, is the trauma release process. So why you are actually on an emotional roller coaster is because you are dragged around through your reactions towards the triggers. So when you start releasing those old bonds and traumas, then you getting back into peace and harmony, and you will be able to control your emotions. And then the actions is just the result of the above two, basically. If you are in peace and harmony, if you have positive thoughts, then you're going to take positive actions, because you kind of know you need to like determine the consequences of your actions. And that's basically mindfulness. And then people say, like, okay, it really seems like hard to reach. The first step, I always recommend the meditation, the samadhi meditation, because they say, okay, how can I get into gratitude? How can I think positively, saying these positive affirmations and believing it? And that's why I'm saying, like, start the meditation, because it's going to already start helping you to start produce the hormones, which helps you as well. Because when you are in delta brainwaves, when you activate the pineal gland, you start to produce more of the melatonin, serotonin, oxytocin, growth hormone, which helps you to become a kinder person, have a better sleep, have a better mood. have a more focused mind. So basically, people who just only went into my meditation library or was listening only the meditation but not doing any other sessions with me, they already seen the change. They already seen the transformation within themselves, that they become more resilient, more peaceful, and more able to control their thoughts or emotions.
This is so fascinating. You have to take a short break here. We are speaking all about healing trauma with Edit B. Kiss, and we'll be right back. I hope you're enjoying the powerful insights I bring you every week on Dream Power Radio. Now, there's a way to get more. Sign up to be a subscriber. You'll get sneak previews of upcoming shows, exclusive access to material not heard on the podcast, and special giveaways designed to uplift your dreaming life. Become a Dream Power Radio subscriber today. Sign up now by clicking on the Support the Show link in the show notes.
Welcome back to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Yes, welcome back to Dream Power Radio. I'm your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman, and we're talking about healing trauma with Edit B. Kiss. Well, Edit, what got you interested in helping to heal people in the first place?
Well, probably you're thinking that I was actually in that situation as well. I had issues to deal with. So when I was in my early 20s, I started to experience panic attacks. And then I didn't know first what's going on. You know that it's panic attacks, what I'm going through. But then I started to read about it and then find out that what is happening to me. And then I first got into Reiki and energy healing, but I realized that even it helped me a lot. So it was actually helped me to manage the panic attacks and helped me to feel better, but temporary. So I was thinking that, okay, I'm on a good way of my growth, and then it helped me to have an okay life, because, you don't know sometimes, like, are you there yet? Are you there yet? Are you actually... Where are you? Which level you are at your healing journey? You just feel better than you felt yesterday. So you are kind of feeling grateful for that. So I was at the point, like, I was still just in the Reiki and the energy healing. And it was like already a decade passed by with my panic attacks. And then I was invited to this course, this Karma Yoga healing course. And actually first I was invited just to translate the guru. And because it was in Hungary at that time and the guru was speaking English, so I had to translate from English to Hungarian. But I got fascinated by the subject. I was like, wow, I love this subject, the mindfulness, the healing, it's so deep, it's just so new, and then it's so powerful. And already after like one meditation, I started to receive breadcrumbs from the universe, all kinds of signs and synchronicities. So it was very mind-blowing. So then I went to take the course myself. And then I felt like, wow, it's so amazing. Start stopping my patterns in certain illnesses or certain issues where actually I got liberated from them. So I was like, this is the sign, this is the things I want to do because it's so powerful. And I felt like it's just, I need to show it to other people, help other people to heal. So like in a very short period of time, in a couple of months, actually, I moved to London from Hungary and then established my healing business. I started to do the sessions. So that's how I started.
Very, very fascinating, and wonderful that you were able to take what was a trauma for you and turn it into something where you're able to give back and heal others as well.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in that situation, I was actually an engineer. I was engineer for 15 years. And then I was traveling a lot and living in different countries. But I was still an engineer. But my hobby was like the energy healing. The hobby was like spirituality. So whenever I had time, I went to my Reiki master for a little retreat, or some extra sense learnings. Or we did lots of family constellation therapies for others and for each other. I was healed from those as well back then. But somehow it wasn't actually healing everything like I needed, And that's why when I learned the source memory healing, it was like very powerful. And then finally it helped me through everything. And then it's like living life like without sickness or without, any drama. It's so great. It's just so peaceful. And then this is why I want to show people and I want to help them with.
Very good. I want to get back to the whole topic of childhood traumas. Have you found in your experience that there's a kind of pattern where there are certain traumas that are common to more people, or is it very, very individualistic and there's a different trauma for everyone?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, most of my women clients, they went through sexual abuse, or if not sexual, then any other like family internal abuse, like, like, I don't know, physical abuse basically from parents. So it was a very common pattern. And so then it's basically a PTSD because they still struggling with it. And then they still need to live with those people around them most of the time. So it's really difficult for them. And that's why eventually they just need help. They can't handle it any longer. That, okay, I still remember what happened to me with this person who's still around every day. But so how can I actually forgive? Because forgiveness is it's the most important part of the release. To forgive to that people who actually betrayed you or hurt you. And sometimes they say, like, they come to me and say, how is that actually possible that I will forgive to that person for what the person done to me? And when I explain them all the process, and then I explain them how they can change also the perspective about it and everything, they are like having these aha moments, and, they realizing that is actually possible. And then after we doing the sessions, like some of them comes back to me and they say that it's not just transformed them, it's not just brought peace to them, but they see that the other person is changing as well. Because we work in multidimensional existence, we're opening up the karma vortex, and then we affect the whole soul family, basically. And so when this healing is happening, it's like a ripple effect. It's healing other people's as well who's involved. And then in the DNA line, so sometimes we think it's only our ancestors or our children, but no, it's also our partners. So whoever came across you through DNA change, even kissing, so then you already get their karma, their ancestral defect, their issues, basically into your system. And you need to deal with that too. So when you're healing, you also healing that part as well.
That's really fascinating. So that one person gets healed and the healing multiplies in effect to others as well. When somebody goes through that kind of healing process, is that something that you're able to get them to release in one session, or how many sessions does it take to get complete?
Yeah, so basically in one session we work on one issue. So the one issue can be that memory, or when if they come with a PTSD and they have a certain memory what they want to release, basically. So then for that memory we work like on one session. And in that one session, besides that one memory, can come up multiple other memories as well. But that's basically one session. It takes 1-2 hours. And then that actually brings them into peace related to that situation. But not, I haven't seen any person who has only one issue. I mean, usually they have that thing, but then they have relationship issue, then they have issue with the sister, then they have issue with their boss, then they, then they have fears around entrepreneurship, then they have like all kinds of things. So then, of course, is another session. Every issue is another session. So I actually have an incubator program, which is a 1-month program. If they want to accelerate the healing process, then it's like an 8 session with me, basically. And then it's clearing out like the most important things. And then I also give them the recordings of my session. So basically there is a guided healing session recordings, what they receive after they went through this incubator healing, so they can actually continue their healing journey themselves. Because it needs to understand that the healing journey is long. It's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to happen even in that 30 days when they are with me. It's going to continue as long as they going to be hit these triggers, and they need to have the awareness that, okay, I'm now reacting to the trigger, then I need to heal. So it takes months, and years to get completely cleared, and then have like a peace of mind. how I experienced is that basically when I started, I was doing healings very often, like several times a week. But then it got less and less. And then now when I get these triggers is maybe every half year, I need a healing because maybe a new person entered my life, or there is a new situation which came into my life, or there is a new challenge which I never met before, and then it's like maybe new triggers. And I'm like, I haven't felt that before. It's new, this kind of thing. So then I go and then do the release about that. And so basically it's different to everyone as well, because maybe someone is just dealing with one thing, but then everything else is great in their life, then it's just a couple of sessions or one session. But if someone is like having several issues, then it's several sessions basically.
And can you give me an example of someone that you've helped?
Yeah, so let me see. There's so many. Okay, so there is issue when someone just came to me with anger issue. For example, the person he came to me because he said he has this anger issue, and then he doesn't like it when he's at work, and then suddenly he got angry with the coworkers, or he got angry with people when he needs to stay cool and, being a leader and so on and so forth. So we started to work on the anger issues, but then he said, okay, yeah, but I also have issues with my parents, and then I also have issues with my brother, and then we started to work on those things. And basically is they realize how powerful is the healing, and then they say, okay, then I want to use it on another thing and another thing, because then they have like, okay, then I want to basically feel happiness, I don't want to have all of those drama or situations in my life. So anger is a common thing what they want to heal with me. The other thing which I mentioned is the abuse. And the good thing is about this healing process is that many people is like don't want to go to a healer with their abuse situation because they don't want to share it. They are like, okay, I feel guilt and shame around it. I don't trust these healers. Why would I actually open up and share about my memory? So when they work with me, they don't need to share what they see because they see the memory, they dive into it. I just need to know their emotions, or not even the emotions. I can do the whole release that they go through the memory, they collect the negative emotions from the memory, and they place it into my release sentences. And that's how we can release at the end. So they don't need to share anything. I had also clients who were actually afraid to move forward with their business. So they were afraid to put certain actions on place, So we did the release, and then there was a childhood trauma, which wasn't a trauma, It was an innocent thing again. So he was just performing on stage, but it was like he felt uncertain emotions. It wasn't even a bad thing. And then he was sharing with me that situation. But then the next memory, he felt uncomfortable to share with me because it was with a partner or whatever, So then he didn't share, only the emotions. And then I helped him to release. So that's why it's really good for people who wants to stay private, who doesn't want to share anything. They just want the release basically to happen and move forward.
Wonderful. Well, Edit, how can people find out more about you and your work?
Yeah, so I'm pretty active on my Instagram profile, which is editbkiss. And also I have a webpage, which is editbkiss.com. And all my social links are on my webpage as well. So basically, maybe that's the easiest to go, editbkiss.com.
Okay, well, Edit, thank you so much for being on Dream Power Radio today.
Thank you, Debbie. Bye, everyone.
Okay, we've been speaking about healing trauma with Edit Bkiss. I hope you've enjoyed today's program. If so, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Until next time, this is Debbie Spector-Weissman saying, sweet dreams, everybody.
You've been listening to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman. For more information on Debbie or to sign up for her newsletter, go to dreampowerradio.com. This has been Dream Power Radio.